And we are rolling on September 5th, 2017 here at UCLA, where we were about to begin our personal commitment speeches. But no, we're going to hear a film speech that really moved Bo in 3 ways.
Hi, I'm Bo.
Hi, Bo.
Imagine yourself trapped in a room with a tiger, and you're hiding yourself in a corner, dreadfully, repeating the mantra of, I respect you. How many of you think you can walk away the room unharmed with a pet tiger? Well, I bet all of you think this is impossible. The film I'm introducing, he defeated the impossible. This is the life of Pi. This movie moved it in 3 ways. First, it makes me vulnerable. Second, it makes me strong. Third, it makes me to believe the impossibles. Movie reviewer Betsy Bostock, she said, Life of Pi is an intense, emotional story of survival and triumph against odds, with the theme of faith, friendship, and perseverance. And I will tell you, I strongly agree with her approach, and I will tell you how I feel this way at the end of my speech. The first thing, it moved me, it makes me vulnerable. At the beginning of the movie, Pi managed to escape from the sinking cargo ship into a lifeboat with a group of zoo animals, an orangutan, a hyena, and a zebra with broken legs, and lastly, a tiger named Richard Parker. However, after a while, the hyena kills the zebra and orangutan before he dispatched by the tiger. This scene, which the animals on the higher level of the food chain kills the vulnerable animals, it makes me remind me of the experience how I always get bullied as a kid. Because I was really skinny, I was a quiet kid, and I was an easy target for bigger kids to bully me. They did all the sort of horrible things, such as hitting my head with a stick, throwing away my lunch boxes, but I couldn't do anything because I was weak. The only thing I could do is to avoid them, to walk away, to run away when I see them. And I was scared to tell the teacher because it only made them more aggressive to me. So this scene of the more aggressive animals kills the vulnerable ones. It made me feel how weak I was when I was a kid. The second way this movie makes me is to make me strong. In the scene where there's only 2 left, the tiger and Pi, the human. The only way he could survive under such circumstances and coexist on the boat was to condition the tiger. And he did so. He did condition the tiger by giving him food and water. And this reminds me how he faced the obstacles and turned his enemy into his friend. When I was in high school, once I had to perform a really difficult piano solo in front of a large crowd. And I was really nervous. My hand was sweating, and I have all these doubts in my head. What if I miss a note? What if I mess my runs? What if I have memory slips? I would leave the stage with nothing more than embarrassment and shame. However, when they call my name, and I thought of the story of Pi, I think to myself, how can I turn this situation around? Because I have nowhere to escape. So I turned my nervousness into my advantage. Instead of thinking nervous about how I would make a mistake, I was nervous about if I can play with my heart and my emotion, if I can deliver my emotion through my music. Well, eventually, I did make some mistakes in the performance, but I truly played my heart out, and a lot of the audience really appreciated my performance, and they moved them in many ways. And lastly, this film makes me to believe in the impossibles. At the end of the story, when Pi was rescued, and the officials asked him what happened, and then they wouldn't believe his story of coexisting with a tiger, and then he had to make around the story that deal with humans. This scene reminds me to believe, but something seems impossible actually is the truth, and we should believe it. And this reminds me when I first moved to America, and my parents decided to move back as a family because he thought I would never survive in this society. And after, as long as I want to resist, I was sad, I was angry, I couldn't do anything because they are the one who making all the decisions. And after we are packed, and then we are headed to a lawyer to begin a procedure of giving up our citizenship so we can leave America. But then the lawyer, he looked at me silently for a few seconds, and then he surprisingly rejected our request. And he angrily yelled at my parents, after all this wait, you want to give up your citizenship. And this kid's here, he must stay. And then he convinced my parents to make me stay. And this is how I'm still here speaking to you, and how I'm staying in America. And when I tell the story to my friends, and even my parents wouldn't even believe this. Because it seems, how could a person only met for the first time, whose job was paid to do these procedures, he gave up the money, he refused to help, he refused to go on with the procedure, but then he decided to help me when I most needed help. And then who would have thought of someone who didn't even know his name have changed my destiny. So in summary, this movie has moved me in 3 ways. First, it made me vulnerable. Second, it made me strong. And third, it makes me to believe. Tie back to the movie review by Bessie. This is truly a very intense movie, as Pi had to survive under the pressure of seeing the tiger killing all the other animals. It's also an emotional story, as always triggered my vulnerability when I was a kid, and realized how weak and strong, how weak I was. And it also motivates me to be fearless in front of obstacles and in front of the unknowns. And lastly, it taught me to believe, to realize there are a lot of wonders in this world, and we should believe it. Let's do it again. Imagine yourself trapped in the room with the tiger. How many of you think you can escape? Well, the answer, probably most of you think, no, you can't. But it's possible. And don't stop believing. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay up there for your feedback. Thank you. In the green rectangle. What side did we start? 7 minutes. Okay, yeah, that was a little long, huh? Okay, let's get in the power stance and try not to sway. Okay, so lock your legs in, don't sway. Did we start with you before? Okay, so let's start over here with Kathy.
He's a really good speaker, and I really like his stories and how well you were able to connect him to the movie, especially the first one.
Improvement.
Oh, I come late.
You come in late. You come in late. Improvement. Hi, Judy.
I really like your speech, but I think we can improve for you have a little long description in the movie. I think you can cut it a little bit, and the time constraints for other.
Yeah, Bo, you knew your speech. That was good. It was delivered extemporaneously without notes. You knew what you wanted to say and you said it. Where you got messed up, shall we say, with the time is you spent too much time on the plot summary. Telling us,
So I want to make more connections.
The tiger and the lion and all this stuff. We don't need that. We just needed to know about your stories. So, you started with can you imagine, and you tied back to that. So that was fine, and you did the life of Pi, and you had your thesis statement, so we knew where you were going, so that worked. You told us about a movie review, and that you agreed with her review. And you had the proper Chicago footnote, and that was excellent. So that was good. On your first emotion, vulnerable, much too long of a plot summary, and when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you're going to see you do this a lot. Okay, so try to lock your legs and not sway, because it's distracting. I agree with Judy, I guess it was, that one of your best and clearest stories was this feeling you communicated of feeling vulnerable in, I guess it was elementary school, of being bullied, and you had to run away and hide because you couldn't tell the teachers because they would just bully you more. And what you needed to just remember to do is remember the emotions you're remembering, and you're doing felt sensing, and you say, and this is why I felt so vulnerable. Remember to say it at the end. Yeah. Now the second emotion was courage. And we kind of got lost in the story of, take your hands out of your pocket. Yeah, just let them be loose by your side. We kind of got lost in a very good story of your piano recital of how courage came into play in that. And I see you just had to have the courage to overcome your nervousness and to play from the heart and to go on even if you had a little flub here and there and missed an eighth note here and there. You still went on and played from your heart, and it was positively received. What you needed to remind us was, and this is why I felt courage. We just remembered the story, but we didn't remember the emotion. See? Yeah. On the third one, you said, this made me believe in the wonders of the world, and I guess then we got, this was the most confusing. Again, a very good story about your parents wanting to give up their American citizenship, which, as your lawyer pointed out, you have to be, as they say somewhere else, loco in the cabeza to do that, right? Because, it would be very bad for you in particular, and he wouldn't go along with it, as he wisely said, I won't do it. It was a good story, but what was the emotion we were tying that to, see? And so you were amazed that this person stood up, spoke out.
I just couldn't believe this.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it was so good. Okay, this sense of wonder. Your summary was good. Remember, in your conclusion, you tied back to your film review. That was fine. Remember to say your major conclusion. No doubt in this room, this film really moved me. And you got out that in a very detailed way, and you were going overtime, so there was no need to do that. And your tie back was excellent. So this was a good speech, quite a bit longer than we needed to have it be. But relax your hands, don't hold your hands like that ever, just relax them. Yeah. But just work on those things, Bo, and you'll be in good shape. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's have some volunteers for the PC speech. Any volunteers? Is there any more film speeches? No? Good. Okay, PC speech time. I need to call on people? Okay, great. Let's hear it for the volunteer. I'm very generous with the people that have the courage to show up today. And volunteer who gave up their Labor Day to labor. Yeah, good, very good. Thank you, good. Okay, can you go step to the center of the box more where the rope is hanging? Yeah, that's good, yeah, good. Very good, yeah, good. Lorena stands before us, managing attention. So everyone, yeah, put that evil phone while you're at the time, and you don't have to put that evil phone while you're timing too. Okay, good. Everyone has their phone away, their computers closed. All eyeballs are on Lorena. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hello, my name's Lorena.
Hi, Lorena.
The meaning of life is not to exist or to survive. It is about
To move ahead.
moving ahead, to move up, to achieve, and to conquer. Today I want to share with you my personal commitment to improving my fitness. I will share with you 2 reasons that I am personally committed towards improving my fitness, and 3 actions I have taken to achieve, to prove this commitment.
Good.
First, I am personally committed towards improving my fitness because it helps me overcome my low self-esteem. A year ago, I was a 19-year-old who didn't think much of herself, who put more value into what others thought of her than what she thought of herself. I was ashamed of my body and how I looked. However, when I began to work out, things changed. I began to feel less self-conscious about how I looked and more prideful of how my body helps me. I feel happier. The second reason I'm personally committed towards improving my fitness is because it leaves me feeling hungry. When I go to the gym, all I want to do is improve. 2 years ago, I wasn't able to curl a 15-pound bar or even to squat my own weight. But now I'm able to squat a little bit more than twice my weight and to curl much more than that. Every time I go to the gym, I feel like there are no limits. I feel hungry. Now, let me share with you some actions I have taken to prove this commitment. First, I work out. No matter the day, no matter the circumstance, and no matter how sore I am feeling, I stand up and I go to the gym. I wake up at 5:45 in the morning and I go to the gym to help me become more fit. Second, I eat more healthy. I no longer limit how much I eat, but instead focus on the quality of my food and on making sure that I get the nutrients I need to be healthy. And third, I no longer pay attention into the stereotype of what women are supposed to look like. By taking these actions, I feel happier. This weekend, I went back home for the first time in 3 months. While I was there, my sister looked at me and she told me, "Where did your boobs go?" Now, if she would have told me this 2 years ago, I probably would have started crying. But when she told me this, I couldn't help but to laugh because I have been more focused on getting stronger than I haven't really been focusing on how my body is changing. So when she brought this up to my attention, I laughed. My personal commitment towards my fitness has become greater than my need to fit into a stereotype of how women are supposed to look. And because of it, I am happy. In summary, I have shared with you 2 actions that I have taken, 2 reasons why I'm personally committed towards improving my fitness, as well as 3 actions I have taken to prove this commitment. There should be no doubt that I am personally committed towards improving my fitness. The meaning of life is not to exist, not to survive, but to move ahead, to move up, to achieve, and to conquer. Fitness has made me who I am today, and it makes me happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Sept, for your feedback. Thank you very much. What was the time?
3:37.
3:57. Very nice. Okay. I'll say, where are we? We're here. So you were here the whole time. Yes, please. What did you like?
I'm
Start with
Teresa.
your name. You're
Hi.
Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
I really liked your actions and how you explain what you've been doing to achieve that, and I like how you made your reasons very concise, and we were able to hear more about what you've been doing to improve some paragraphs.
Yeah. Good, right to the point. With it. Improvement?
I just listened half of it.
Oh, half of it. Okay, we'll go. Did you hear it all?
Me?
Yeah. Great. Stand up and tell us how she can improve.
I loved your speech.
Mm-hmm.
I love the speech. I think it strikes a chord in like all of us, especially women, for sure. This is hard for me to give you an improvement, honestly. You hit every mark. It's really hard, honestly. I'm so sorry that I don't have a major improvement for you. If I were to just struggle to find something for you, just keep working on your confidence. And I really think that because there was people coming in here and they couldn't decide whether or not they wanted to sit down, I think that really maybe threw you, because I think you probably had it better memorized, but maybe, so it's hard for me to say if you didn't have it completely down, because I think that was causing you a problem, the interruptions.
Mm-hmm.
So work on getting over that. Like, even when there's an interruption, you still have to come across confident, trust yourself, and that's very difficult, but that would be the thing I would say.
Yeah. Okay, you make a good point, and we should always try to wait at the door and not come barging in, because our need to sit down is greater than a person's need to finish their speech. Yeah, Lorena. Let me talk about your speech, and let me start by saying I really liked it a lot. It was really heartfelt, and it really shows that you shared a side of yourself that was very personal, and that came through. The quote you started and ended with was from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you decide not to attribute to him for any reason, or you just didn't want to, or you forgot, or you thought he may not be that credible, or what was your thought on not giving him credit for the quote?
So I thought that saying his name, because his name's long, would take it out of the speech. And also because I feel like that's something each of us could say, and I was planning on because I said it again in the end. I was planning on saying his name, but in the end I did forget.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a problem with him because he was Mr. World and a great bodybuilder and still has a good body, but he also, got his maid pregnant and made her have his baby, and cheated on Marie Shriver and so forth, and his dog basically, and was governor. And so if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you either loved him or hated him. So he carries baggage with him. So maybe it was okay to leave him off. I think you're right that he was kind of a controversial figure of sorts. You either love him, you hate him, or you detest him, or you think, oh, he's a real man, he got the maid pregnant, whatever. I don't know. Okay, so let's get back to reality. So you had a good quote. When you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you will see you only get one chance to make a good first impression. You want to know that quote a little better. The meaning of life is not simply to exist, but not to exist, to survive, but to move ahead, to go up, to conquer. Slower and let the meaning sink in, but know it, and you didn't. Right? And you want to know that beginning quote. And that goes for all of you. It's too late for Lorena, but not for you. folks in the room. Thesis was perfect. Okay, this is something that you'll notice wasn't perfect, by the way. You skipped your significance statement, right? Okay. So you had a beautifully written significance statement. So I like the fact that you understand the significance statement, because you said when we eat, you get more and you become and feel better about yourselves, and so that you understand the concept of a significant statement. So that was good. You could have gone a little bit more into detail on your first reason. You could have talked about your low self-esteem. Maybe you could have talked about being slightly overweight or something like that, or whatever the situation was, if that was the case. But ashamed of your body, and some more details. But I like the before and after, and I began to work out, and I felt happier. That was a very good story, and it was very revealing. And so I credit you for that. That was good. Your second reason was you got to the feeling again, and you talked about feeling hungry, and you gave us some facts about curls and bench presses, or so forth, and you ended back on hungry. And I like the fact that you had feelings in this speech, and that made it more sticky, right? On the actions that you have taken, you have self-discipline. You get up every morning at 5:45. You eat quality food, no more junk food, so you're staying healthy. And you have tried to transcend the notion of Madison Avenue, if there is such a place, or whatever the new Madison Avenue is, of how a woman is supposed to look. As your sister so crudely put it, where your, what'd you say? Your tits or something? Or what would you say? What happened to your boobs? What happened to your boobs? So, the big idea, big boobs, that's what a woman is supposed to have, right? And that's just silly. And that's wrong. And, that's just crazy. But, that's foisted upon women, and they often go out to plastic surgeons and augment themselves because they feel they're not meeting some hidden standard of beauty that someone else is imposing on them. It's kind of crazy. And how you felt when you've taken these actions, that was your best part. You said you felt happy. You told a funny story about your sister and said, something's wrong with you. You lost your boobs, and you were laughing about that, and that was good. And you talked about feeling good, and it's sexy to be healthy looking too, So your summary was good, your conclusion was good, and your tie back to your quote was excellent. Your canise. Have a more affirmative voice, make better eye contact, and more tonal diversity. One more thing before you answer how that went. I would like you to have a more meaningful walk so you come back to the real center at the end of your speech. I realize this is kind of tough with what do you do with the two reasons and then the actions and then the summary. But yeah, try to end up with, when I perform these actions and summary, back in the power center of the room for the ending. Yeah, because you were sort of over there, askew. So how did your canise go?
I think my eye contact was a little better.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, not so great.
Yeah. What do we need to do about the tonal diversity? How do you need to work on your, working on that? What are you going to do about that?
For that, it's just more practicing out loud and actually doing it. Because, I read it, and I read it out loud, but I read it like if I'm just reading. I don't practice the tones.
Yeah. I recommend yellowing keywords, as you heard me read your introductory quote. So, the punchline is to conquer, and, spread that out, and put a little oomph in the conquer. And also, I've been stressing your voice can make your, your whole organizational pattern be more apparent. Reason 1, reason 2, actions I've taken, so you really, that narrative is really easier to follow. But really excellent job, and thank you so much for volunteering and being first. Yes, another volunteer. Yeah, excellent. Okay. Nice color against the white background. Thank you. Thank you for not wearing white and blending into the white screen. Yes. Okay. Ooh, wait a minute. The camera has gone bad. Okay, just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Natalie stands before... Yes, Natalie stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, I'm Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Picture this. You're sitting in your room the night before your sticky final paper submission is due, and you haven't opened the book at all, and you're staring at the 300 pages. How many of you are feeling a little stressed out right now? Well, stress is not a fun feeling, and that's why I'm here to tell you about my personal commitment to living a stress-free life. I'm going to tell you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to living a stress-free life, and 3 actions that I take to show my dedication and commitment. Stress affects us all as UCLA students, whether it be because of work, school, relationships, but I'm here to tell you that with just a few changes, you could be living a much happier and stress-free lifestyle. The first reason why I'm personally committed to living a stress-free life is because stress causes anxiety. And I remember I started feeling very stressed in high school when I was stressed out with schoolwork, stressed out with my parents, spending enough time with them, stressed out from my friends, fitting in and just doing what the cool kids do. And all the stress would eventually pile up and I would get panic attacks. My hands would tremble, my body would go numb. My heart would start pounding and I feel like my insides were going to come out. And I vividly remember this one time when I had a panic attack and my mom had to call 911 because she wasn't sure if I was just going to make it through one. And in that moment, I truly felt upset. I was upset because I let my mom down and I let myself down. And this upset feeling is what caused me to want to live personally commit myself to living a stress-free life. The second reason why I live a stress-free life is because stress can cause depression. And I remember sometimes I would find myself slowly slipping into depression. And I would just simply feel so stressed over all the things that were causing me to feel stressed that I wouldn't really care about what was making me depressed. I put my feelings and thoughts aside and I just focused on what was stressing me out. And I remember after going a few nights without sleep, I just sat there and I just thought to myself, who am I? Who am I anymore? I haven't been paying attention to my feelings, and I realized that I felt lost and I didn't want to feel lost anymore. And this lost feeling is what really made me want to personally commit myself to living a stress-free life. 3 actions that I now take to living a stress-free life is 1, I commit myself to 7 hours of sleep a night, or at least I try to, because that reminds me to think about all the actions I've taken and who I am throughout the day and change it the next day, given the opportunity. I started exploring and traveling more. That way I remember to live outside of the bubble of stress I've created in my head. And lastly, I started to do Hatha yoga, which is a type of relaxation yoga that helps me remember to relax and breathe and just enjoy the simple things in life. And in doing so, I experience a lot less anxiety attacks and don't feel as depressed anymore, and overall have become a happier person. In summary, I've told you about my personal commitment in living a stress-free life, 2 reasons that I am personally committed, and 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate my commitment. And in doing so, I've become a much happier person. There should be no doubt in this room that I do live a stress-free life, and I hope I've encouraged you to do the same. So the next time you're in your room stressing about that sticky final paper submission or that exam, just remember, just a few couple of changes could lead you to a much happier and stress-free lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you. What was the time?
3:35.
3:35. Very nice. Thank you, Natalie. Okay, where are we? Next person, please. Yes.
Hi, I'm Anya.
Hi, Anya.
I really love your speech because and it is also meaningful for me. I also suffer from the stress. And I love your tone and your finger and your eye contact. They're both perfect.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
I really like your speech, but I think maybe when you're doing your significant statement, like emphasize why we will care. Like you will, like I know you'll believe in my personal commitment, or I know you'll be interested in my personal commitment.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. You did say with a few changes we can all have a better life, but maybe a little bit more of that would have made it even more significant. Natalie, I really liked the speech. I liked the personal revelations that you made, and so you revealed it was authentic, and that's what we were trying to get at, and so it wasn't just a personal commitment to living successfully. Well, by the way, I would have chosen, because stress-free, I think it will happen when you're dead. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The stress just kind of comes with it, but with life. But, less stress and dealing with stress more effectively by doing hatha yoga, by doing mindful meditation, by taking some time to get off the merry-go-round twice a day and thinking about your life can really pay dividends, as you discovered, by sleeping enough, etc. But stress-free, well, no, I don't know who has that. Okay, let's go through the speech. You chose a very excellent allusion for this class, so great audience analysis. I assume some of the people in this room are worried about their sticky final, and I hope everyone has been typing away at it and has already been working on it, but there may be a few that haven't even cracked the book, so that was a very good choice for your audience. Yes. Your thesis preview was perfect. As was suggested, your SIG statement I thought was adequate. Could have sold a little bit more, but it was good. You really revealed in your first reason your proclivity to become so stressed you would go into panic attacks. Your mother had to call 911 because you were freaking out so badly. And you said, wow, what have I become? And you were sort of mortified and said, wow, this has got to change. This has got to stop. And so I appreciate you sharing that, and that was very authentic and very real, and that was good. Now, your second reason, you linked it to depression, and you also talked about the fact that you were doing these all-nighters, and you said, what am I doing? Jesus, I'm crazy kind of way to live. And so you had one of those existential moments of, no, I'm not going on like this. So again, very real, very authentic, and I like that very much. You tied in very naturally then to your actions that you have decided to take. Again, as I suggested to the last speaker, if you can, with your voice, make your narrative and your, organizational pattern. So the actions I've taken, 7 hours to sleep the best I can, and I spend time before I go to sleep thinking about my day and how it went and what I could have done better. And that's an unexamined life is not worth living, as we know. Someone very famous said, and that's a good time to examine your life every day or in the morning during your morning meditation. I travel, great luxury if you can do it, and being able to spend time with yourself. That's many people are afraid to be by themselves, but it's how you get rid of your dead branches, and it's makes you actually able to be with people in a more intimate way, because you're a stronger person when you come to a relationship if you're able to be alone, paradoxically. On Hatha Yoga, excellent. I would only add that other students have found mindful meditation also to be, twice a day for 20 minutes in the morning and evening, to be very helpful in getting rid of the stress of the day and getting them ready for the day. Unfortunately, I wish you had spent a little more time on it. And fourth, here's how I feel when I take these actions. I feel great. I feel great after 7 hours of sleep. After I do my yoga postures and do my deep breathing, and I feel great. Right? So forth. Yeah. So, you always want to put that feeling back in, because that makes the new connection. Yes. Summary was perfect. Conclusion was perfect, and the tie-back was good. Your canais. Project my voice louder. Use different tones and emphasize certain words. And remember all 7 parts to the outline. How did it go?
I think I projected my voice. I remembered all 7 parts, but in different tones. I think I could work on it so that I can emphasize different parts of my speech a little bit more.
Okay, good. Yeah, my only quibble was just with that part 4 of after your actions. You were supposed to say how you feel about your actions, but yeah, that's a big thing that people commonly leave off. And but you did a good job doing the speech, and thank you so much for volunteering. Okay, do we have another volunteer? See how easy it is? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Okay. I have to readjust the camera a little bit. Okay. Ooh, whoops. Okay, there you go. That's perfect. Ooh, whoops. Come on, Betsy. Stay in focus. Okay, you're managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Elisa.
Hi, Lisa.
So I was driving home this weekend from LA to San Diego, and normally the drive takes about 2.5 hours. But I hit Irvine, which is supposed to be my halfway mark, after 2.5 hours. And at this point, I was really frustrated about the endless traffic. I just wanted to give up. I didn't know how much longer I could take. And I thought to myself, well, this journey home reminds me a lot about my college experience. Today I want to share with you my personal commitment to believing in myself. I will tell you 2 reasons why I am personally committed to believing in myself, and 3 actions that demonstrate my personal commitment. I think that as college students, we worry a lot about what we're going to do in life after we graduate, and so we could all use a little more faith in ourselves that we will succeed. So I know you will care about my personal commitment.
Good.
The first reason why I am personally committed to believing in myself is because college is hard. In high school, grades came really easy to me, and I was used to that. but I came off the wait list for UCLA and I was really excited, but the rigor of UCLA hit me hard. I was getting grades I wasn't used to, and I started to feel like a failure. And I thought maybe I belonged on the wait list for a reason. But my family always supported me. My mom would say, in 10 years, none of this is going to matter. No one is going to point you out and say, hey, what grade did you get in that physics class you took your sophomore year? And my family's endless support made me want to personally commit into believing in myself as much as they believed in me. I feel relieved that I'm not stressing out about every single grade I get or about getting anxious before every single test I take. I'm doing my best, and I know my family will be proud of me. The second reason I'm personally committed in believing myself more is because I'm tired of letting people talk over me. I've gotten into some really bad arguments with my friends where I'm always the one to be passive and back down. And I don't want to be that person anymore. I would share my opinion, whether I would disagree or not, and just become quiet as they would argue their side. But if I believed in myself and composed my thoughts, I would be able to share my opinion and stand up for what I believed in. I feel empowered now that I'm trying to be less passive and communicate assertively and stand up for what I believe in. Now, third, I want to share with you 3 actions that I have taken to demonstrate my personal commitment. I started going to therapy, and I'm learning tools on how to relieve my anxiety about my academic performance. And I'm learning that I will end up where I'm supposed to be in the future. And I started standing up to people, and I'm learning to communicate assertively and really stand up for what I believe in. And I'm now taking classes that I really enjoy with the mindset that if I put the effort in, that it will pay off and I will succeed. Fourth, when I performed these actions, I felt amazed. I didn't know how great it felt to be confident in what I was doing, and I'm really excited to start my junior year strong. In summary, I have told you 2 reasons why I am personally committed to believing in myself and 3 actions that demonstrate my personal commitment. There should be no doubt in this room that I am personally committed to believing in myself. So like I said, my drive home reminded me a lot about my college experience. There I was, halfway home, and I didn't know if I could go any longer. But it's not like I was going to stop in the middle of the highway and not accomplish my goal. I was going to keep going and accomplish my goal of getting home. So here I am, halfway through college, and no matter how frustrating it gets, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pushing myself until I accomplish my goal of graduating. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What was the time? 3:15? 3:50. Thank you. Elisa, what did you like?
Hi, I'm Faye.
Hi, Faye.
Lisa, I really love your speech. I think it's powerful and confident and very natural. And your gesture really appeals to me. And I think the beginning and the ending of your speech is very repetitive, and the middle of that is a little flat. Maybe the rhythm, you can design some interesting thing in the middle. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah. Right. That was an interesting point. And improvement, please. Hi, Bo.
I think for improvement, just I couldn't really think of. Well, I think at the beginning where you can, sorry, I don't know how to say it, but when you talk about yourself driving to Irvine, I think you can make more of a connection and hints a little bit how it relates to your personal commitment. I think at the beginning I just a little bit confused that where you're pointing at. Yeah, but you make it a good connection at the end. So.
All right. Fair enough. Elisa, liked your speech a lot. Agree with some of the comments that were made so far. I really liked the beginning and end. I really saw you had a vivid word picture there because I've actually we go to a tournament at Point Loma university, so I've made that drive, unfortunately, many times. And I know that halfway point, and I know that lousy traffic both ways, and I know how frustrating it can be, so I was right there with you. But maybe you could have made it a little clearer. You did say this sort of being halfway reminds me of how I'm feeling about my college experience and, what I'm up to and what I'm trying to do. And maybe that's why Bo was confused. Your thesis statement was fine. Your SIG statement was really good. You related it well to the audience. You hit it right on the head, like most of the people are wondering, what am I going to do with myself after I graduate? What job will I get? And it's a common quandary. So good audience analysis on that. Good revelation that you were waitlisted and that you were you were a big fish in a little pond in your high school. But when you got to UCLA, you realized this is a real university. And suddenly, there are a lot of big fish in this pond. And you're going to have to really knuckle down and do something a little differently than, glide through classes as you did in high school. And this caused you a lot of self-doubt. So I thought that was very revealing and self-disclosing and nice that you shared that with me, with us, and that you shared that your family helped you transcend this. A lot of people have this, my grades are me. I get a C, I'm average. But I think you, I hate to use a cliche, but you did hit the nail on the head. You're given your best, you try your best, and your mother is very wise. No one's going to say, what grade did you get in physics? 10 years ago. Although I must tell you, I digress for just a moment, but we just got a check from the president of donation to the debating team from the president of Ford Motor Company, who was on the debating team here in 1937, if you can imagine that. And he still complains about the debate coach, even though he won 2 tournaments, gave him a C. And he still wants to contest that grade because it was the only C he ever got in college. So he remembered that C. So, he's 101, but he still remembers that C a few years back. So go figure. But yeah, your mother's right. You're putting out your effort. You're taking classes you like, and you put in what you get out of it. And you're developing good study skills, and you'll get a diploma from a major university, and that's the important point. You develop thinking, writing, speaking, and listening skills, and you will have something to offer the employment market, period. Okay. On the second thing I thought was very self-revealing is that you were sort of a passive duck, shall we say. You let people talk over you, and you wouldn't stand up for what you believed in. And you said now you're getting more empowered, and you take a personal stand. And taking speech classes and learning to express your opinion on issues. I'm not pushing this in any way, but I give a class in current events called extemporaneous and impromptu speaking, where people have to take a position on current events called COM 103. And people are forced to take a position on abortion, and this also forces them to stand up on an issue and to take a position. But you're learning you can, with evidence, back up your point of view and not have to back down. And I think that was also very revealing and excellent. Thirdly, you said what you're doing to achieve your personal commitment. You revealed that you're going to therapy, and I thought that was excellent. Not everybody reveals that. So that was authentic, and I've gone to therapy. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's took courage for you to disclose that. You're standing up to people, and you said how you feel when you take these actions. So you had that fourth step, which people are skipping, which I like. Your summary, your conclusion, and your tieback were all good. Your canais, yeah, I still had to scoop down a little bit and come back on you for some of your hand gestures that were still a little low, but you're getting higher. You said, don't keep my hands at my side or below my waist the entire speech. You're still doing a little of this, but you got up here more, and that was good. Make longer eye contact with the audience and use more intonation to keep my audience entertained. How did it go, Elisa?
I think my eye contact could still improve. I think it might have been better in my last speech, and then my intonation I think was better, especially imitating my mom and talking about my drive home. I think I was intonating my voice to communicate my emotions of being frustrated, or my mom's emotion of exaggerating.
What did you think about Faye's comment that you were a little flat in the middle, that you weren't quite as animated as you were in the beginning and the end? Did you agree with that or disagree? Or do you see what she meant? Or you don't have to agree. Maybe she was wrong, but...
I think definitely I use more intonation at the beginning and the end when I'm especially tying back, I'm trying to exaggerate, then I'm tying back to what I said before.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, I think that you always want to use as much vocal variety as you can because it keeps it interesting for the audience to listen to. Okay? Thank you very much, Elisa, for volunteering. Okay, do we have another volunteer? Excellente, excellente. There you go. Excellent. It's even stapled. Very good. Okay, and I think we've got enough battery to make it through your speech. So let's knock on battery. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, you're taller than Lisa.
Every time I watch these on YouTube, there's always a, oh, you're taller, at the beginning of every speech. Okay. Nice contrast to the white background, thank you. Okay, demonstrating before you, managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, saying I respect my audience, and really meaning it, finding friendly eyes to the front of the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech. Hi, I'm Damon.
Hi, Damon.
My mom always tells me to be nicer to myself. She's probably right. I'm probably a little hard on myself. But today, I'm not here to talk to you about being nice. I'm here to talk to you about being honest with yourself. I have a personal commitment to being honest with myself, and I'm going to tell you about that through 2 stories and 3 ways that I have committed to being honest with myself. And I think that you will all find it important, because at the end of the day, being nice to yourself is nice, but being honest with yourself is how you make the real, important decisions in your life. The first story that I have for you about being honest with myself is about Chief. That's the name of a roommate that I had last year. And we had been friends my freshman year here, and he wanted to room together, and I said okay. He was a little bit of a weird kid, but he seemed nice enough, and I figured I'd go for it. Turned out, he was psychotic. He sounds funny right now, but he was unstable, he had violent flashbacks, and he threatened to kill me and many other people. And I felt terrified. And while I did manage to get him taken out of my room, it was terrifying. And if I had been honest with myself from the beginning, I should have known that I was uncomfortable with that, and that is why I am personally committed to being honest with myself. My second story about why I'm personally committed to being honest is a bit more lighthearted. Romance. Earlier this year, I was casually in a friends with benefits relationship with a friend of mine, and while nothing bad ever happened, and I never crossed any lines that I wasn't proud of, it was unfulfilling. It just wasn't what I was looking for. And if I had been honest with myself from the beginning, I would have known that that was never something that I was really looking for at the time. I felt unfulfilled, and that's why I'm personally committed to being honest with myself. But I'm not just here to tell you stories. I'm also here to demonstrate to you that I have taken 3 steps to being more honest with myself. The first one is to be honest with other people. I'm trying to be as straightforward as possible in every interaction that I have. The second one is that I want to cut out the noise from my life, cut out the distractions, and focus on the things that really make me happy. And third of all, I want to assess the problems that I have realistically. Not too nice, not too harsh. And when I do those things, I'm able to cut away the fear and the unfulfillment that I have when I lie to myself, and I'm able to feel proud of what it is that I do each and every day. In summary, I've told you 2 stories about how I'm trying to be personally committed to being more honest with myself, and I've told you 3 things that I do every day to try and make that commitment a reality. There should be no doubt in this room that I am committed to being honest with myself. Because while my mom may tell me that I need to be nicer to myself, at the end of the day, real fulfillment and the real decisions that we have to make are better made with honesty than nicety. Thank you.
Thank you. Time? 3:59. There you go. Okay.
That's the second time I've done that.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay. 9. Okay, next. What did you like?
Oh, hi, my name is Lisbeth.
Hi, Lisbeth.
I liked your tone of voice, and I felt like your stories were very something like personal to you, and I'm glad that you shared it with others.
Improvement.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Like to see, and even though you migrated from going to this, you went like this a lot, from this to this.
Yeah.
So careful with
instead
that.
of steepling,
Yeah.
I did this one. Is that as bad as?
Well, it's
One of my
better.
things
That's really a romper room no. But I like to keep your hands out and just gesture and not put them together. If you can avoid doing that, it's better. Yeah. Okay. Well, gosh. Let me start with the positive. Really excellent tone. Really very believable, very convincing tone, and I like that very much. I'm a sucker for people that quote their mother, so I like that, and I like...
Mom has a lot of good things to say.
Yeah, someone else quoted their mother, and quoted her, and then, the tie back was good to that end, and so you had a rather intriguing thesis about not being nice to yourself, but not blowing smoke up your own nostrils, shall we say, and being honest with yourself. And here, this becomes a little tricky, but interesting to talk about. Now, when you said, because in the end it must maybe good, but when it comes to making attempts to the corrections, honestly would be the most important guide. I needed a more for them to say,
yeah.
to
how it's written has a little less of that. I tried to say more of that in the actual thing that I said out loud once I'd seen a few other speeches.
You saw that, you sell to them.
But I know the way it's written there is...
Well, it wasn't exactly in a cell. Okay. Now, what we needed to have on the chief story, which was a very interesting story, was just a little bit more of a setup of, gosh, Chief wanted to live with me and broom with me, and my inner voice said, maybe not, maybe I shouldn't, maybe there's something not quite right with Chief. But I've been friends with him a long time. What the hell? I didn't listen to my inner misgivings. I went ahead. See, tell us about your inner dialogue that you weren't honest with yourself. You didn't listen to yourself. Set it up a little better. And then it makes sense that when he went crazy, you went, oh my God, why didn't I listen to myself, and why I am to blame for getting myself into this mess and having to get out of it myself. And if any of you, and I have, no, I'm not going to share that, but anybody that's ever been stalked or had some ex-lover who won't let go, or knows that this can be very problematic and can be difficult. So that's my only concern about that storytelling there, was just the setup of the internal dialogue. On the second story, why am I hearing talking back here? On the second story, you told us that you were cushion pushing with somebody that you weren't committed to. That you were indoor body surfing, but you really didn't feel that much toward her. You were using somebody else, and that you began to feel guilty about that, and you didn't feel that was exactly right, so you stopped it. You finally listened to yourself and you broke it off, right? And so you said finally when you did, you felt more proud of yourself that you ended this sort of sordid situation or whatever it was, and you felt better and felt you should have done it sooner. Again, we could have heard the dialogue saying, is this really the right, am I really doing the right thing here? Am I really being straight and upfront here? Maybe not. My concern with your actions was that I needed at least one example, because they were all very general. I'm trying to be upfront with myself and honest with people in every interaction. For example, I'm trying to pursue something making me feel happy rather than distraction. For example, I realize that you were right at 4 minutes and so forth, but I'm trying to just primarily, for example, would have really made it more realistic than just these general things you say you're doing. How you feel, yeah. My cognitive dissonance, that's, I'm not sure about how much I like that as a...
Yeah, that phrase, I never ended up saying that one out loud because it felt too technical.
Yeah, it's not really like a touchy-feely feeling thing, Summary, good. Conclusion was good, and you tie back to your mother, excellent. Canais, no steepling, high energy, no rambling. How did it go?
I definitely was focused on not steepling throughout it. I did apparently switch over to this.
That's okay. Yeah, you feel you feel comfortable holding your hands together. Some people do this. They put their hands together and they pinch themselves in reassurance. At least you're not doing that. Mm-hmm. But some people will hold their shoulders together and they'll pinch themselves like you're doing right now, so you reassure yourself that way. So try just to keep them loosened by your side. Shake out the stress. And high energy and no rambling. How's that go?
I liked my energy. I think was good.